So till now, we have not completely solved any response equation or normal mode shape equation. We have just left it with respect with the with the initial condition, boundary conditions left. So we have constants in that term. So now we are going to use the initial condition and boundary condition. So for single degree of freedom system, we have one initial condition. For continuous system, we'll need infinite initial conditions. So at infinite different positions. So instead of explicitly mentioning, which is not possible, we'll use a function. So we can have functions for initial displacement or initial velocity. So the initial term already means that the time will be 0. And for having infinite initial conditions, we'll have x as a function. So we'll have the displacement with respect to x and velocity with respect to x. So what does that mean is, when I have a string that is along the x direction, my displacement can be something like this. So the wx comma t is going to show the displacement of all the x position. The wx comma t function is going to give me the displacement at t is equal to 0. So let's assume this is the time t is equal to 0 position for the string. So this function is going to give me this location, the displacement at all positions of x. And similarly, w dot or the velocity is going to give me similarly. So the velocity can be something like this, and that initial velocity function is also given to us. So we now need to infer from this velocity and displacement functions and get our uh, values of c and d. Those were the things which were coming from the initial conditions. The boundary conditions were also easier for us because there were only two boundaries for us, but the initial condition will be of functions. So there were the constants in boundary condition. In initial conditions, we are having functions. So let's look at them. So let this be given: w x comma 0 is equal to some function, and w dot x comma 0, that is the velocity, is some function. Let's not assume they are constant. Let them be a constant, and now they are going to be equal to summation of n is equal to 1 to infinite cn sine n pi x by l. And the velocity is now going to just we are going to differentiate w, the original response equation which we have got. We are going to differentiate it, and then we are going to equate the terms. So we have got that. Now we need to figure out the cn and dn values. So now we are going to use the property of orthogonality of functions. So what does that mean is, we can multiply on both sides with sine terms and cosine terms, and we can get the values of cn and dn. So one of the example will be, let's take let's see, we need to find c1. So what we can do is, we can pre-multiply both the sides with sine n pi x by l. So sine 1 pi x by l. And what that will result into, we have multiplied both sides, then we'll integrate from 0 to l, and this will be helpful to us. So if we are going to expand this, the orthogonality condition will be helpful. So when we have sine n pi x by l into sine n pi x by l, so this will be separated to c1 sine 1 pi x by l, then plus c2 sine 2 pi x by l, whatever, plus c3. So sine 2 pi x by l multiplied by sine pi x by l will result into 0 when we are going to integrate from 0 to l. Similarly, when we have c3 sine 3 pi x by l, because of orthogonality, the sine c3 sine 3 pi x by l multiplied by sine pi x by l is going to be again 0 because of the orthogonality. Similarly, the same thing occurs if we have sine multiplied by cos or cos multiplied by cos. They will only not occur when we have cos square happening, that are the same terms are happening exactly outside and inside the brackets, or outside and inside the summation condition. So that will help us. So we can, when we are going to multiply by sine 1 pi x by l, we can find c1 value. When we are going to multiply by sine 2 pi x by l, we'll get c2 value. Similarly, we can get d values, or d1 d2 d3 values also. So that's all we can do. So c1 will be directly, if w is constant or any function, we can put the function over here, we can integrate that function, and multiply 2 by L over here, and we'll get the value of C1. Similarly, C2, C3, and D1, D2, D3. So we'll stop over here. Thank you.